Welcome to re.Dress. This is a show at the Gage Gallery until today, September 11th. And my name is Feeleus, and I'm here with Elizabeth Carefoot, and she and I collaborated on this show. You'll be able to see that we had a lot of fun collaborating on this show. The kind of centerpiece for the show is these four legs, which we called All Dressed Up and Nowhere to Go. These are sort of dummy legs that I had for some time, and we each dressed one leg from each set. So Elizabeth did this one, and I did this one, and then she did this one, I did this one. And it kind of just set the tone, and it also became like our advertising, and it kind of set the tone for the kind of fun we were having with this subject matter. So I should probably point out to you that a lot of people have learned about what a merkin is, because I started by putting this there, and of course I was thinking pubic hair, and Elizabeth responded by making this piece called Merkin for the Sultan's Favorite. And who knew what a merkin was until we did this? So now Elizabeth will talk about these two pieces, I guess.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and re.Dress, you can take it both ways. You can be re.Dressed, or you can re.Dress wrong. So Laura took the high road and decided to focus on how you re.Dress possible wrongs, and I decided I would focus on how you present yourself to the world through your outer clothing. So I made several of these. I'm very involved in sort of shamanic type costumes and magician's costumes, and so this one is, it's called the Black Robe, obviously, and it's painted with embellishments of coins and metal pieces, tassels, beads, and I just had fun with this. It's just a costume, I guess. And again, the merkin. A merkin is really a pubic wig. I guess that's the short form of what it is. And so we'll continue now with Laura.
Right, so in this little series of three, I'm addressing the use of fur. Elizabeth had given me this fur. It came from a collar, of a grandmother's coat collar, and it's badger fur, and I had it in my studio for quite some time. I felt really badly for it, so I made this little sign for it saying sorry. And then I did some research into fur and fake fur, and you know how that kind of played out in the fashion world over the last century. So that kind of started this whole series of vests, for me anyway. Here I actually did buy some rabbit fur, sustainably farmed, and I call these my fur babies. It's kind of a play on the fact that people are treating animals now as their children.
And here I looked at our title, re.Dress, and re.Dress, re.Dress, re.Dress. I kind of got all jumbled up, and I thought I need to do a painting, because I like to paint and stitch and not do one thing for a long time. So I made a portrait or a picture of a dancer. She's just about ready to dance. She's arching her back and she's about to lift her arm. So this is a re.Dress. Then these two vests. The top one was one of my favorite lace blouses that I used to wear on cruises, and I spilled some espresso coffee on it, and it would not come out. I tried bleaching it, and it didn't quite work. So I thought, oh, to heck with it, I'll just go with it. And so I pushed it, and I just really made more espresso coffee on it, and then I just embellished it with what I had in my studio, just to make a piece of artwork out of it. And this one, I collect Middle Eastern jewelry and Middle Eastern beadwork and various Middle Eastern coins, and I have so much of it. I've been doing this for 50 years. I've been collecting Middle Eastern jewelry and metal pieces. So I thought, I'm coming to the end of my life. I got to get rid of this stuff. So what better way than to make artwork out of it? So this is one. And it's called Armored Vest for the Heavenly Warrior. And what my intention was this the absolute antithesis of the bomb vests that they wear in Afghanistan. And this is something completely opposite from that.
I learn something new every time. So this came from an actual re.Dress, and once again these dummy legs, because I had several sets of them. And I'm just playing on the whole idea of the re.Dress, which is kind of also buried in First Nations work right now around the murdered and missing Indigenous women. And I happened to meet someone. I went to Chosin Missa, an International School of Art, and I was doing a block printing course there. I met a poet who actually wrote a poem for me on another piece I did called Fat Barbie. And she called it Botticelli Barbie. And so I ended up printing that poem onto this dress. And it kind of takes it right back into that whole, the last line is of what was lost, a red dress. So I printed that onto this dress. Right.
Is that me again? So this whole series was out of my scrap bin. As I say, Middle Eastern clothing, Middle Eastern and Indian fabrics. So I just cut them up, made little dresses here. And here, again, I had a big box, a big bag of scraps. I never throw anything out because everything is beautiful in that little scrap bin. So when I tipped it out, I thought, oh, this is so lovely, all this mixture. And prior to that, I guess the week before, I had just seen another artist, Margot Farr, who had a show of little scraps. She stitched hers by machine, and I was just so enchanted with the little tiny miniatures that I thought, I'd like to do this too. And so I did it too, but I did it by hand because I really love hand stitching. So that was my homage to Margot Farr. Go ahead, you do this.
And then we decided to each do a sort of selfie or self-portrait. And so that one on the left is Elizabeth's. It's a fabric collage. And then the one on the right is me, and it's an etching. And then this is your piece.
Yes, and this is another of the painted robes that is painted, stamped, and embellished with stitches and metal pieces and felt and knickers and everything else. And I call this one People of the Delta. This is a riff. It's not a real costume. It's an amalgamation of the styles they wear in the Mekong Delta. So that was mine.
Yeah, and so these 8 pieces, really, there's 4 here and then 4 on the other wall, that are my fabric collages. I generally start by painting cloth and then adding scraps to it, and then with these ones what I did was I then cut them up into little coats, and I just call them fabric collage coats. So.
And this one here I call Homage To Degas. And what I wanted to do is, I wanted to experiment. This is an experimental piece. I wanted to combine lots of fabric, loose fabric, not stitched down, with a painting. So I painted this little, sort of a ballerina type dress, but I didn't want to make it too much like a tutu. So I made it off-center and it's odd looking. And the part I had the most trouble with in this whole thing was this. There was this blank space here, which I didn't know what to do with. So I struggled with that and finally found a doily and a little something crocheted. I just stuck it on and I said, yes, that was it. And something like that comes together, it's just so wonderful. And it's none of my doing.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. Sorry. And then that kind of leads right into my Fat Barbie, which I found her with this dress on, and I wanted the dress. I didn't really want the Barbie. But when I took it off of her, I was just kind of really grossed out by what she looks like underneath, like really skeletal with these long legs and tiny hands and tiny feet. So I did some research, and I learned that there are no Fat Barbies, so I had to make my own. So this is what I took to Missa with me as kind of I don't know, it was kind of an inspiration for the block printing I was going to do, and that's what the poet saw, and me, you know, and the dress and everything, and that's why she wrote that poem. She called it Botticelli Barbie. She was naked then. I only just put the dress on just before the show started. I think she looks better with the dress. Right, looks fatter almost, right, with the dress. Yeah.
And that's just some more little dresses.
Little dresses, yeah, down below. These are stocking dryers, like women used to wash silk stockings and then dry them on these wooden things. A friend of mine gave these to me. They were just plain wood, and they had holes in them, and I was just inspired to, you know, make polka dots and circles and embellish them. And then this piece is called Suitcase of Goodbyes. I actually had this in another show called Goodbye Hello, which you might have been at, Efren. And it was about my leaving to immigrate in 1950. And it was about my relatives all saying goodbye and them thinking that they would never see us again. And then this series here is what I did at Missa with the block printing. I was just learning how to block print on fiber, on fabric. Well, that was really lots of fun.
So this is the last piece of the show. It's a deconstructed vest. This used to be my favorite linen shirt. My husband drags me all over the earth to the Caribbean areas, and sometimes I really don't want to go. But this used to be my favorite sleeveless, cool linen shirt that I kind of grew out of. I got too fat. So I cut it up, and on our last trip to Mexico, I embroidered it. And I put this passage from the Bible. It's Ruth to her mother-in-law, saying, "Whither thou goest, I will go." And so that was my little statement to my husband. And during the 10 days we were in Mexico, this is the complete thing that I stitched, hand-stitched during that time. So, thank you for listening. Oh, we've got more. That's right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so we got... We thought we needed some masculine pieces in because it was mostly about women's clothing. And so we each worked on a piece that included a man's jacket. This one I called Late Bloomer. I based it on my son. The rose, that was part of the dress that came from, that was the lining for that dress. And I just altered the jacket to have all these roses on it. So, and then Elizabeth's is...
Oh yes, this is again another male element. And here I got this pinstripe suit, which is very like buttoned down, kind of the buttons and everything else, and the shirt and everything else. But from the inside of this person, this button-down person. There's so much potential, and that's what I tried to evoke. And here, now this really is the last piece. This is called the Tribal Wise Woman, and I often make little mannequins like this that are quite spiritual, because I do want to practice what I believe, I guess, and what I've learned over the years since I've been alive. And I make these little mannequins, so this is just one of them. And she's the keeper of the keys. She's keeper of the key to memory for the tribe. So that's what I'm trying to say with this. Everything is in threes. She's got 3 layers of, because 3 is a very sacred number. She's got 3 layers of skirts. She's got 3 layers of, whatever this is, necklaces. And she's got 3 keys here. And she's got 3 beads at the back. So everything is into threes. That's it.